Good morning, students. In last class, we discussed about the common emitter and common collector configurations. In that, we discussed the input-output characteristics of common emitter and common collector configurations. Along with, we discussed the current relationships in the CE and CC. Then, after we compare the common base, common emitter, common collector configurations, and we have chosen the common emitter is mostly used in the audio amplifier circuits. So in all the cases we consider the our BJT is ideal. Today we will discuss about the non-ideal effects of BJT. Until now we have considered a BJT with uniformly doped regions. That means emitter, base, collector are uniformly doped, and we assume the emitter, base, collector width also constant, and we assumed the collector junction and emitter junction are not in breakdown region. If any of these ideal conditions are not present, then how the transistor properties will deviate from the ideal characteristics. Yes. So in previous we assumed they all are ideal characteristics. If they are not in ideal, how the characteristics of BJT will vary. First we will discuss about the base width modulation. In this in previous discussion we assumed the width of the base is always constant. But when we are using the BJT as amplifier, the transistor must be in the active region. That means the emitter junction is in forward bias and collector junction is in reverse bias. Yes. So collector junction is in reverse bias. That means across the collector junction we can observe the space charge region or depletion region by applying the reverse bias voltage to the collector junction. Yes. So we already know the depletion width is more penetrates into the lightly doped region and less penetrates into the heavily doped region. Yes. So when you are increasing the reverse bias voltage, when you are applying the reverse bias voltage across the collector junction, so we can observe the space charge region or depletion region with depletion region at the collector junction. So due to the lightly doped base, depletion width is more penetrates into the base region, less penetrates into the collector region because base is lightly doped one and collector is heavily doped one. So due to this effective base width is decreases. When depletion width more penetrates into the base region, the effective base width decreases. This effect is called base width modulation or early effect. So from this we can say the base width is the function of base to collector voltage. Yes, by increasing the collector to base voltage or base to collector voltage VCB, then what happens? Effective base width decreases. So this is called base width modulation or early effect. When you are increasing more reverse bias voltage at the collector junction, the depletion width increases and it is more penetrates into the base region. At some particular point, this depletion region more penetrates into the base region and it will touches the emitter region. In this case, that emitter is directly contact with the collector region. So we can say emitter and collector are short circuited. So we can say what is the current coming from the emitter junction, that same will pass into the collector junction. So we can observe the IC equals to IE current in this case. Clear? So base width modulation is nothing but when reverse bias voltage VCB increases, depletion width across the collector junction increases. Then the effective base width decreases. This is called base width region, base width modulation or early effect. So we know this base and collector junction is in reverse bias. It is looking like PN junction diode in reverse bias. So the depletion width of the collector junction when it is reverse bias, we can write it is similar to the PN junction diode depletion width. So W equals to 2 epsilon VB by E 1 by NB plus NC all power 1 by 2. So here NB is the doping concentration of base and NC is the doping concentration of collector, and VB is the barrier potential, net barrier potential. So here we can define the law of junction. It is nothing but NB into WDB equals to NC into WDC. It is nothing but in P junction we defined as NAWP equals to NDWL. Yes. So total depletion width can be written as sum of depletion width penetrates into the base region and collector region. It is nothing but W equals to WDB plus WDC. So WDB plus WDC is replaced with, from the law of junction, NB by NC into WDB. By taking the WDB as common, we can write WDB into NB plus NC by NC. So by taking the WDB as out, WDB equals to W into NC by NB plus NC. So by replace the W value from the above formula, WDB equals to 2 epsilon, and your VB barrier potential is nothing but built-in potential plus reverse bias voltage. So it is replaced with V0 plus VCB. So 2 epsilon V0 plus VCB by E 1 by NB plus NC all power 1 by 2 and NC by NB plus NC. By simplifying this one, we can write WDB equals to amount of depletion which penetrates into the base region can be written as 2 epsilon V0 plus VCB by E NC by NB into 1 by NB plus NC all power 1 by 2. Amount of depletion which penetrates into the collector region is equals to WDC equals to 2 epsilon V0 plus VCB by E NB by NC into 1 by NB plus NC all power 1 by 2. So here V0 is the built-in potential. It is nothing but Vt ln NA by NS square. So instead of NA we are written it is equals to NB NC by NS square. Clear? And what are the consequences of early effect? If VCB increases, we can say base width, effective base width will decrease. Then the number of recombinations in the base will decrease. Then INC increases. Automatically beta also increases. Base transport factor is also increases, and alpha increases. Yes. Due to the early effect, alpha increases small amount, but base transport factor beta increases considerably. Due to this early effect, emitter junction current increases. How the emitter current junction increases? So we can say IA equals to INE. So this INE is the current due to the electrons at emitter junction. It is directly proportional to the diffusion. So the electrons are crossing the emitter junction due to the diffusion process. So it is directly proportional to the dN by dx. So dN is nothing but change in the electron concentration with respect to the x. So we can write it is equals to delta n by delta w. W is nothing but width. X is nothing but around the width w. So W effective base width decreases, then INA increases. Clear? So these are the main consequences of early effect or base width modulation, BWO. Emitter band gap narrowing. Yes. Here, the emitter injection efficiency factor gamma would be continue to increase, and it will approach unity as the ratio of emitter doping to base doping continue to increase. Yes, so this emitter injection efficiency factor gamma is written as 1 by 1 plus Pg naught by Nv naught into dB by dE into Lb by Le. So it is already derived in the previous videos. So here Pe naught is the hole concentration in emitter, and V naught is the electron concentration in base. These are indicates the holes in the emitter is nothing but minority carriers in the emitter, and B naught is the electrons in the base is nothing but minority carriers in the base region for NPN. Yes, so we are represented with minority carriers in the emitter region can be written as Ni square by Nb, Ni square by Ne, and eliminator is represented with Ni square by Nb. So by replacing that Pg naught by Nb naught with Nb by Ne. Here Nb is the doping concentration of base, Ne is the doping concentration of emitter. This ratio is replaced with Nb by Ne by using the law of mass action. Yes. So dB and dE are the diffusion coefficients of minority carriers of base and emitter regions, and Lb and Le are the diffusion length of base and emitter region. So now this gamma is represented for the NPN transistor. Yes, so we can say diffusion coefficient of minority carriers of base and emitter are constant. Yes, so doping concentration Nb and Nb. How the doping concentration affects the emitter injection efficiency? This Nb by Ne ratio is decreases, then emitter injection efficiency will be increases. So emitter injection increases up to what is the maximum value? The emitter injection value, the emitter injection efficiency is maximum value is always 1. So the Nb by Ne factor is decreasing, that gamma is increases, and it will reaches to the 1. So we know as silicon becomes heavily doped, the discrete donor energy level in n-type emitter splits into band of energies. So we can observe in the diagram here. Yes. So when silicon material is doping with the donor atoms, then it becomes the n-type material. Yes. So the donor energy level adds the below the conduction band. So the distance between the conduction band and donor energy becomes decreases by increasing the doping concentration or by increasing the donor impurities. Yes. So it is nothing but we know when you are adding the donor atoms to the pure semiconductor, that Fermi energy level of it forms the n-type material. The Fermi level energy level of n-type material is below the or closer to the conduction band. When you are increasing the more donor atoms, when you are increasing the more doping in the n-type material, then the Fermi level will more closer to the conduction band. Yes. So as doping continues to increase, the donor band widens and moves upward the conduction band, eventually merging with it. At this point, effective band gap energy has decreased. So the effective band gap will be decreases. So we know the intrinsic carrier concentration Ni square equals to Nc into Nv by e power minus Eg by kT. So Eg is the energy gap between the energy gap of the material. It is nothing but conduction band to valency band. So it is replaced with the Eg minus Ev. So in every doped emitter, the intrinsic carrier concentration can be written as, so Ni is written with the Ni is intrinsic carrier concentration. So now I am writing the suffix. It is Ni E square equals to NcNv by e power minus Eg naught by delta Eg by kT. So here Eg naught is the band gap energy at lower doping concentration. Yes. So when I consider the lower doping of emitter, Now in this case I am assuming the energy band gap is easy not initial one. So delta is the band gap narrowing factor. So how it is changing? Yes, the emitter injection efficiency factor was given by gamma equals to 1 by 1 plus P naught by NB naught dB by dE LB by LE, and it is already written for NPN transistor. So PE naught is the minority carriers in the emitter region. It is nothing but intrinsic carrier concentration square by dollar ND or NE. So it is equals to, from the law of mass action, Ni square by Ne. So Ni square equals to Ni square into e power delta Eg by kT. Yes. So we replace this Pe naught and Lb naught. Then what happens here? As emitter doping Ne is increases, delta Eg increases. That means the band gap narrowing factor is also increases. Thus Pe naught does not continue to decrease with the increased emitter doping. So minority carriers does not decrease in the emitter by increasing the doping concentration of emitter. If P naught stars increase because of band gap narrowing and emitter injection efficiency factor decrease with increased emitter doping. These are the effects. Clear? Next, in previous discussions we assumed the uniform doping, but if base is non-uniform, then what happens? In this BJT, we assumed the uniform doped base region. However, the uniform doping rarely occurs. So, most of the cases, uniform doping is not possible, but it will rarely present. For p-type base region in thermal equilibrium, we can write current density equals to E mu p NaE E dp dNa by dx. It is equals to 0. From this, we can write electric field. In this, we can write Vt Na dNa by dx. And these are the non-ideal effects of BJT. And we need to consider one more thing, that is how the BJT junctions collector and emitter breakdown. So here we'll discuss about the breakdown voltages. What are the different mechanisms like our PN diode? Yes, here also we are having the two different mechanisms in the BJT, that are punch through or reach through. Next one, avalanche breakdown. So in this, as more reverse bias voltage VCB increases, the base to collector space region depletion region widens and extends into the neutral base region. It is possible to base to collector region to penetrate completely through the base and reach the base to emitter region. This effect is called punch through or reach region. So when you are increasing the more reverse bias collector voltage at some particular point, the depletion reached at the collector junction is penetrates into the base and it will touches the emitter junction. So this is called punch through or reach through. So it is reaching the emitter junction through the base, or it is punching the emitter junction through the base. So by increasing the more reverse bias voltage at the collector to base junction, so the depletion region more penetrates into the base and it will touches the emitter. That means that emitter and collector are electrically short circuited. Then the large collector current flows in the BJT, which will destroy the transistor. Yes, to avoid the punch through or reach through, we should not apply the VCB more VCB voltage. So we should always keep the VCB below the safe limit of manufacturer specified value. Yes, we should not exceed the specified value of VCB. So when you are reaching the punch through effect of punch through effect VCB, then large current will flows into the collector region. That collector junction power dissipation at collector junction is more than transferable damage. Clear? So we can write WB equals to width of the base region, and it is almost equals to the how much it penetrates. Why? Because when we are increasing the more reverse bias voltage, it is almost equals to the it is almost touches the emitter region. That means the effective width of the base is almost equals to the base region. So from this it is similar to our previous formula, 2 epsilon V naught plus VCB by E, NC by NB, 1 by NB plus NC or power 1 by 2. Here V naught is the built-in potential, VCB is the reverse bias voltage, and it is also called as punch through voltage or reach through voltage. Why? Because at the particular point of VCB, that WB equals to WDB. That means the collector and emitter are electrically short circuited. So we can say VCB is also called as VPT, punch through voltage. So here we have neglected the V naught. It's nothing but built-in potential. It is generally 0.7, and VCB is the more reverse bias voltage. So 0.7 is very small compared to the VCB. So we neglected that term V naught. Next we'll discuss about the avalanche breakdown. In this we need to observe the two diagrams. First one, here emitter is open. In second case, base is open. Yes. So in figure 1, NPN transistor with reverse bias voltage applied to collector junction with emitter open. Yes. Here the current ICBO is reverse biased current when we are applying the reverse bias between the base and collector. Yes. So your base and VCB is a reverse bias. So the current is magnetic charge carrier current. It is reverse bias current. When I equals 0, we name this one as ICBO. ICBO is the reverse saturation current at collector to base when emitter is open. In figure 2, it is also NPN transistor with applied collector to emitter voltage and base terminal is left. So this bias also makes collector junction reverse bias. So here also we are applying the VCG, positive terminal of the battery is connected to the N-type collector, and neutral terminal of the battery is connected to the N-type emitter. So now it is also in reverse bias. The current in the transistor for this configuration is ICUO, because when IB equals 0, here base is open. So the here also magnetic current is passing through the collector junction, so it is ICEO. Yes, because base is open, here IBU is open. So ICBO current is due to flow of magnetic carriers holes from collector to base region. The flow of holes into base makes positive with respect to the emitter. So holes are entering into the base. So due to this, it makes the more positive with respect to the emitter, and the emitter junction becomes forward biased. So the forward biased emitter junction produces the current ICO due to the primarily to the injection of electrons from emitter to base region. The injected electrons diffuse across the base towards the collector junction. In this case, we can write when electrons reach the collector junction, this current component can be written as alpha into ICO. So it is multiples of ICO. So ICO equals to alpha into ICO plus ICBO. From this we can write ICO equals to ICBO by 1 minus alpha. It's a relationship between the ICO and ICBO. So it is also equals to 1 by 1 minus alpha equals to 1 plus beta. We know it is already derived in the common emitter configuration. So ICBO equals to 1 plus beta into ICBO. So the reverse bias junction ICBO is multiplied by the current gain. That means
When transistor is biased open base configuration, so the reverse action current ICO is multiplied with the current gain. So here we can get the more current. Beta is the large value, so it is multiplied with the 1 plus beta times, so we can get the more current. Due to this high current, again transistor may damage, junction will break. These are the two mechanisms in the junction breakdown of BJT, that are punch through or reach through, and second one is avalanche breakdown. Thank you.